From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Becoming Thin podcast, and I'm your host, Chris Terrell. And welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you, champion? What new challenges did you encounter? But more importantly, what failure did you go through, and what lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now, don't let a perfectly good failure go by without you getting your lesson. That's your reward for your troubles, after all. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting. Up, up again. Before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired and fat, and made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my real-life lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and to my systems of belief. Because it's all of those things that created the results in my life, and if I wanted to get new results, I was going to have to go change those 6 things. Now I'm here each week to help you make the same changes in your life, slowly and over time, which we're going to talk about in depth here in a second. But before we jump into the topic of the podcast, if you have not yet done so and you're looking to get started on your weight loss journey, I'd love to invite you to take my free, yes, totally free weight loss course. It is a 3-week program. Starts with 5 days, and then we'll roll you into the next 2 right after that. And you can join that, register for it for free at becomingthin.com. That's becomingthin.com. And if you'd like to go ahead and start working with me right away, you can also learn more about my program at imnotquitting.com. And if you've enjoyed the podcast, I would like to invite you to leave a rating and a review, but only if I've earned it. Give me a few listens. And if I've earned it, I would love to get that rating and review. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, a written review means a lot to me. All right. We've been sticking with these Becoming Thin philosophies, and today is going to be no different. I'm sort of taking the brakes off myself, so to speak, and talking about things that honestly make me a little nervous to talk about. But it's some areas that I've wanted to talk about for a long time. You know, for years in the past, I sought to lose weight, actually decades. And I would try diet after diet after diet. And when each one didn't work, I would go back to trying one of the old ones again often. And I always assumed that the problem was me, in truth. I assumed there was something wrong with me. I'm the broken one, because whenever I wasn't dieting, I was gaining weight. No matter what I do, I gain weight. And I couldn't stick to these diets. So therefore, the price of weight loss was something it just wasn't one I could pay. I would think to myself, well, I'm not disciplined. You know, I'd think that I'm lazy. How come all these other people can stick to a plan and I can't? It must be easier for them. This is really hard for me. This isn't fair, I'd often think. It's not fair that I was born into a body that isn't naturally fit. It's not fair that I was born into a body that doesn't like all sorts of food. It's not fair that I was born with a mind that is lazy and gets distracted. It's not fair that I was born into a body that gains weight no matter what. It's not fair that this is so hard for my body to lose weight. I felt hopeless. I honestly felt hopeless. I felt like there was nothing I could do to change my circumstances. I felt like I was broken. But can I tell you a truth? Something about myself that I get scared to admit to myself, and certainly have some fears around admitting publicly. The truth is, I knew I could do it the whole time. I knew I could do it the whole time. Even when I was saying all these other things, I knew I could do it. I just wasn't willing to pay the price to have it. And a part of me knew that too. I wouldn't talk about it though. There was a side of me that wanted to change. And I knew it was there. There's a side of me that wanted to walk away from all the things holding me back from what I wanted. But I would not give that side of me a lot of attention or any intention. In fact, I wouldn't even admit that side of me was there. But it was there. And I kind of knew it was there. There was a side of me that knew what it was going to take to lose all the weight. It knew that the price of the thin body wasn't giving up tasty foods and overeating for a while, as I go on some other diet for months. That other side of me knew that the price was, in fact, something much more valuable, and it didn't want to pay it. This other side of me knew what the price of success was, and it just didn't want it to be that. This other side of me needed to go try anything and everything else before I paid the real price. The price to have what I wanted was my life. Well, at the time I thought it was my life. I later slowly learned it wasn't my life, but rather it was a version of my life. But at the time it was just my life. You see, at that time, I thought my life was all sorts of things. In truth, my life wasn't all the circumstances, the routines, the connections, the jobs, the possessions, and the toys, and all the other things I thought my life was. But at the time, I did think all those things were me. But there's another truth, one that I'm a little also afraid to admit publicly for a myriad of reasons. I knew for a long time, not in the beginning, but over time I started to realize that when I said I want to lose weight, I didn't actually mean that. Yes, I did want to lose weight, but that wasn't ever the actual for realsies goal. That was just a piece, a sliver, all I was willing to say. I just said that was the goal, but secretly I wanted something else, and I wouldn't admit it for many reasons. What I really wanted was to feel differently, permanently, deeply, inside. I wanted to think about myself differently. I wanted a new opinion of myself, but that wasn't all of it. I wanted other people to see me differently. I wanted people to look at me and think, wow, that guy's impressive. That guy's disciplined. That guy's an inspiration. I wanted people to look at me and think that I'm disciplined and just in general pretty great. At the time, I wanted these things because if they believed it, then it would allow me to believe those things about myself. There's an Andy Grammer song that has a really great set of lyrics. It says, I want to love myself without needing someone else to say it to me. And I believe that is what I actually really wanted. I wanted to love myself on my own, but I didn't know to think of it that way. I was still under the illusion at the time that the opinions of others regarding me mattered. I didn't actually want the external accolades. I just said a few moments ago, I wanted people to look at me and think, wow, that guy's impressive. That wasn't what I wanted. That was a means to an end. I wanted the accolades. So that I would give myself permission to look at myself in the mirror and love the person I saw. That's what I deeply desired, to love myself without needing somebody else to say it to me first. I wanted to see me and be grateful and glad that I am me, because at the time I was not. And for a large part of my life, I was not grateful and glad to be me. Looking back on my life in the past, I would contort myself to be what I thought the person in front of me that I was talking to wanted me to be. Do we all do this as people, I wonder sometimes? Honestly, yes, I believe we do to some extent, but I don't know that it's necessarily bad that we alter how we act in front of people. Like if I get pulled over by a cop and I'm in a grumpy mood, now's the time to turn that off, right? But there is such a thing as taking this too far, and I took it way too far. I was always everywhere trying to be somebody to someone else and I never stopped to ask myself who I wanted me to be. I had never decided the kind of person I wanted to be. There's lots of reasons that I've unpacked on my own over the years why I did this. Now, maybe others out there avoided the struggle. Maybe others out there didn't have to deal with this. I just know I didn't. And I've met many others who also shared this struggle. You know, I didn't lose myself along the way because I didn't have a self to lose. I had never found myself in the first place. I started off my life trying to be what I was told I was supposed to be. And when my dad died, and as I at the same time discovered the meaning of time, I began to think to myself the question of, who am I? I don't know. I knew who I thought I was supposed to be to all the various people. I thought I was supposed to be thin. I thought I was supposed to eat a certain weight. I thought I was supposed to be all sorts of things and act all sorts of ways. But I never stopped and asked myself who I would be if I knew everyone would accept me no matter what. If I knew that no matter what I chose to be, I would be accepted, what would I then choose to be? You see, I would only answer the question of who should I be if I knew what people were willing to accept. If I didn't think people would accept it, I wouldn't consider allowing myself to be that. I pondered that for many months, and I came to a realization, an interesting realization, that no one who mattered, who made a real impact in the world, was universally liked by everyone. I could not find one single example of a human being who had made a major impact on the world who was liked by everyone. Everyone had haters. Everyone had haters. Everyone had people who didn't like their choices on how they lived their life. And I'm out here trying to be liked by everybody. Do you get this? I don't, maybe I'm the crazy one, but I've talked to other people. I don't think I'm the only one. Now, I'd like to pivot back to the main point, if I may. I wanted to lose all the weight. And a part of me knew that for me to do it, I was going to have to give up my life. I was going to have to give up my lifestyle, my habits, my routines. And it didn't stop there. I was going to need to give up my environment, sometimes just the way it was set up, but sometimes literally the environment and community. I might have to give up people for relationships, or I might have to alter the dynamics of them. Ow. Yeah, that seemed hard. But you see, then I found one more thing I was going to need to give up. Harder than the rest of them. My system of beliefs. There were ways that I saw the world that were going to need to change. I didn't know what I was going to need to believe instead in many cases, but I knew there were a lot of things about myself and life that I was going to have to stop believing. Like things I knew specifically I was going to have to stop believing. Like I was going to have to stop believing I can't do this. I was going to have to stop believing that. I knew that. Okay, now let's pivot to another point here. There is a truth that I have known about me for a long time. Something that I foolishly thought was unique to me, and now I'm pretty sure is common among people. You see, when I make a deeply committed decision that I want a new result around something in my life, I mean commit down to my core, so much so that I allow myself to visualize and imagine it as being mine, it usually eventually happens. Not by some sort of magic or something like that. I don't believe in that gobbledygook. I mean, I think that when I make the decision, my mind begins to go to work for me. The subconscious mind goes to work for me, finding solutions to problems and helping me find the way. And if I'm willing to act, I pretty much always find it. And the trick is to keep holding on to that decision and not making a decision to go backwards, because just as you can decide to go one direction, you can decide to go another one. So I had to be willing to make a decision and not keep making new ones. However, there's a special kind of decision, one where you decide deep within that not only you want something, but that you're willing to make sacrifices at the altar of this decision. If you look to your past, you make sacrifices at the altar of your decisions all the time. The question is, when will you decide? When will you decide that you will make a decision to take care of yourself and to live life on your terms, to be the person you want to be? When will you decide that you're going to stop waiting around to live the life of your dreams because you're overly worried about being disliked or misunderstood? Look, I still to this day at times will struggle with these sorts of decisions. As my life has gotten more public, I really feel it. Look, I've reached a place where I've been recognized in public many times, where I'll be out and about somewhere in the world and where a person will see me walk across a room to say hello and ask if they can take a selfie. And I don't know who they are. I have people who will reference something I've said 3 years ago and tell me how that changed their outlook on life and led to their transformation. In short, people know who I am, or rather, they know parts of who I am. But then, I still am a person and have to live my life and make decisions on how to handle things. Maybe I'll be misunderstood. Maybe I'll be disliked. Maybe I will be understood and maybe I'll be liked. Maybe someone won't even care one way or the other. And the truth is, that last one, someone won't even care, that one is the most common one by far. For as many people who know me, there are orders of magnitude more people who don't have a clue who I am, and in 100 years after I'm done on this earth, no one will know my name potentially, and almost no one will speak of my name or me outside of a genealogy conversation about their ancestors. Years ago, as I watched my dad die, I decided to let go of what others thought of me. I decided I was going to take his final piece of advice to me, which was to stop waiting around. I was going to stop waiting around and I was going to start living my life. And if somebody doesn't like it, then I'm going to let them leave my life because this is my life and I only get one. Now, why are we talking about all this? This is a weight loss podcast. Well, we're talking about this because it's a weight loss podcast. Except this isn't a weight loss podcast where I talk about the next diet plan to help you lose the weight, and yeah, you'll probably gain it back. No. This is a weight loss podcast where I talk about how to lose weight and keep it off. And I'm not going to dance around the real truths anymore of what is required to lose weight, keep it off, and let go of dieting forever. If you want to become a thin, healthy, happy, in shape person in a permanent, meaningful, and lasting way, you must transform who you are. You must change your sense of self. You must adopt a new paradigm. You must see the world in a new way. And you must quit the act of being who you are so you can start playing the part of who you will become. Or, as the Avett brothers said, decide what to be and go be it. You will, on this journey, have people who do not want you to change. They won't want you to change because you changing makes them feel uncomfortable. You will have people who don't want you to change because your success ruins their excuses. You will have some people who don't want you to change because you doing so will require them to let you go, and they'll feel left behind. Now, this won't be the case for everyone in your life. Many will be happy for you. Many will cheer you on. Many will quietly watch you from a distance and say to themselves, keep going. You're on the right track. You will be at the gym or somewhere else in the place of fitness, pushing yourself, going on a walk in the neighborhood for the 50th time. And there will be people who are there all the time who know everyone's faces, and they will notice you. They won't notice you because you're big. They'll notice you because you're new. And they'll cheer you on quietly, rooting for you because they know the journey you face, and they know it will be hard, and they know you can do it. On this journey, you're going to find, though, that the biggest person standing in your way is your past self, your own ego, not wanting to let go of its control, not wanting to be the problem. You will, to get to the other side of this transformation journey, transcend your own limiting beliefs of yourself, of what you can do. You will adopt a bigger vision of yourself. You will fight yourself along the way, though. You won't know who you are at first, and you won't even know you're fighting yourself at first. You're going to blame the circumstances and the situations. You'll blame the people around you. Now, the ones around you now and the ones in your past, from your past and the ones in your future. You'll blame your job. You'll blame your body. You'll blame the grocery store, the media, your spouse bringing snacks around. You'll blame a lack of knowledge. In truth, you'll blame anything and everything except the real thing. You, your own ego. You will begin to realize on this journey that you can overcome all of these things, and it will be you that overcomes them. It will be you that figures out how to solve every obstacle in your way to success now and in the future. It will be you that makes every decision along the way to success. It will be you that chooses to let go of old attachments to make room in your life for the new attachments. But that will only come when you decide to let yourself become someone new. The number one obstacle to your success will be your own self. However, this will be hard. This will be difficult. Your old self will fight back. But you can do this. You can learn how to work with yourself instead of against yourself. Yes, it will take time. Yes, it will be hard, and it will be worth it.